doing that no matter what else happens with all those people in the sky.
But if the everyman helicopter was just a fantasy, there were more than enough real commercial applications just waiting to be recognized. In post-war America, helicopter manufacturers were confronted by stark economic reality.
The regulations to get a type certificate so that we could sell them had been severely increased, so that we needed a lot of money. So began there the first of a series of endless compromises. But the first was we'd better give up the idea of every man's helicopter and build a crop duster.
Back in the 30s, the autogyro had been recognized as a useful machine for crop dusting. But while the autogyro's rotors helped distribute sprays more thoroughly than ground equipment could, the helicopter went one better. Its positive downwash forced sprays around and under the plants in a way never before possible. It was a spectacular sight for any onlookers, and in those days, nobody worried about the health risks. Helicopters had other advantages over the established forms of crop spraying. Ground machinery was slow, could damage the crops, and could only work when ground conditions allowed. Fixed-wing aircraft were fast, but that was half their problem. Speed made them dangerous in confined spaces. The helicopter's ability to control its speed in the air from 0 to somewhere approaching 100 miles an hour gave it a flexibility no other vehicle had. Helicopters were also highly maneuverable and were able to adjust to the details of the ground surface for the greatest effect. The military was no longer the sole target of helicopter manufacturers. They recognized a huge civilian market potential. The task was to identify a need and then sell the helicopter as an answer. On March 8, 1946, this Bell 47 received the first American type certificate for a commercial helicopter. Newspapers, which had used autogyros since the 30s, were quick to see the helicopter as a faster way of getting reporters and photographers out to a story and back again. Helicopters could land on a roof or in a car park. Film could be processed quickly, and the photographs could be on the streets in the evening edition, while surface-bound reporters were still fighting traffic jams. The helicopter found a role in animal conservation. In rugged, inaccessible territory, it could monitor species numbers, or if necessary, herd the animals to a new location. Within a year of coming into service, the Bell 47 was being used in the oil fields in Louisiana. Its value for geophysical surveys and for transporting personnel to difficult locations was immediately recognized, and soon helicopters were a common sight in oil fields all around the world. But the helicopter really came into its own on offshore oil rigs. In 1948, a Bell 47 made the first helicopter landing on a rig 19 miles out to sea in the Gulf of Mexico. Soon, helicopter manufacture became an international industry. In December 1946, the British Westlands Company acquired the rights to produce and sell Sikorsky helicopters throughout the world except the North American continent. Westlands was free to develop and improve the basic Sikorsky models, and their version of the S-51, the Dragonfly, went into service in October 1948. It had a larger engine, higher speed, and longer range than the Sikorsky original. It earned a reputation as an extremely effective rescue helicopter. By the 1950s, the Westlands Company had established a strong identity of its own, in spite of the unmistakable Sikorsky lines of its product. While Westlands followed the Sikorsky approach, the British Ferry Company was moving in its own direction. The Jet Gyrodyne was a convertiplane with tip jets and a pusher propeller. In December 1948, the British Sierra Company, famous for its autogyros, released the world's only three-rotor helicopter. It was called the Sierra Air Horse, but its suitability for large-scale crop dusting earned it the name Spraying Mantis. At the time, it was the largest helicopter in the world. The rotors all revolved in the same direction, but torque was canceled out by their triangular arrangement. British military Westlands Dragonflies served with the Royal Air Force in the Malayan jungles in the early 1950s. They were formed into the first British Casualty Evacuation Unit at about the same time American helicopters began to perform the same service in Korea. The helicopter revolution was just beginning on the field of battle.